fight the owners. We do not have a single hotel where we do not pay out the service charge. And it's written in our management agreements. If an owner refuses to pay the service charge, we won't operate the hotel. Because we believe it's such an important nexus between staff and the well-being of staff and the well-being of guests, right?
So let's talk about your moving into this third brand, which is at this point unnamed. Can you describe that brand for us, and what's the common link between Banyan Tree, Angsana, and this new one that's coming up?
The other one that I'm personally spending a lot of time on now, and I hope will have the same degree of success, is launching this third brand. And the initial signs, a lot of things you do is by feel. You can't just launch surveys and so on, because if you did, you'll always be following trends rather than setting new trends. So this new brand we're doing, all our colleagues initially said, how can you do sell a condo with only, the size would be about 35 to 40 square meters. In Singapore, they call it a shoebox unit, etc. When we did our mock-up, and here we focus on design quality, so there's a lot of design innovations. When we did our first mock-up and all our colleagues went there, they all signed up wanting to buy. We've now sold in 2 months more than half of the inventory. What will link it will be an obsession with design and the innovation that design can bring. I've used IKEA products. I'm proud to use IKEA products. And they are a company that have really globally set the standard of how you can actually sell cheap products, which are good and cheap, but really good design, down to the littlest aspect. So we are using an IKEA approach to how we're designing even the furniture, every little bit, because the smaller it is, actually the harder it is to design something that's really good. So that at the end of the day, when you come and experience this product, you should actually, the measure of the success will be you would say, wow, Banyan Tree's into all this stuff, so cheap and everything, but it's pretty innovative. There's a good service, to the extent that there's service. And in the areas where it's do it yourself, it was highly innovative.
So despite what people said about shoebox units, at least here in Singapore, and how shoebox units are increasingly losing its flavor, but you've decided to go for something, and you said it was your feel for it. What was that feel?
I've wanted to, I see easily the rise of the middle class in Asia, the younger middle class. The demographic trends are really clear, because even for Banyan Tree, as an aspirational brand, they save money, they go to the Banyan Tree, etc. So you've got a whole huge, young, no doubt, from one perspective it's aging, but it's still a very large, young middle class that's coming into money. And spending time in Bangkok, I talked to my own Thai colleagues, the junior, middle ones, not the super senior ones, and ask them about their lifestyles and so on. And I go and visit some of their the condos that they've bought. There's no HDB, so any PMET, double income sort of family has to try to buy something. So I've looked at some of these projects, and they're about, the smallest one's about 25, 28 square meters. Largest about 30 something. And I realized when I looked at some of them, that they were really quite livable. I mean, they were no different than how my wife and I first lived when we got married in Hong Kong, on Lama Island, and so on. I think demographic trends are moving towards people not necessarily wanting a bigger unit somewhere. They would rather have a comfortable unit in the middle of the city and perhaps have another smaller unit in Phuket or Bali. The lifestyles of people now are more into mobility, into experience, and I found that, I mean, that was my hypothesis. We launched it in Phuket to see whether people would react the same way I think I would react if I were them. You need to have a feel that this is what the market needs. You launch it. If you're wrong, well, you move on. And if you're right and you've caught a trend, then you really move with that trend. And I think we're onto something here.